Hello friends, myself Subhash Nagarse from Sri Digambar Jain Gurukul High School, Solapur. I shall welcome to all of you in this session of 10th Standard Science and Technology Part 1st. The topic is Gravitation Part 4. Today here we are going to discuss on mass and weight, free fall, gravitational potential energy and escape velocity. Friends, in the previous session of this gravitation part 3, we have been discussed with Earth's gravitational force, Earth's gravitational acceleration, value of z on the surface of the earth, and variation in value of z. Today in this session we are going to discuss on the following important subtopics. Mass, what do you mean by mass and what is the weight? What is the difference between this mass and weight? Free fall, that we are going to consider with example. Gravitational potential energy, this is one form of the energy that we are going to discuss. Then escape velocity, what do you mean by this escape velocity? How it is related with the force due to gravitation and mass, distance. Let us start with mass and weight. Mass and weight. Friends, mass, it is the amount of the matter present in the object. The SI unit of mass is kg. Mass is a scalar quantity. Its value is same everywhere. Its value does not change even when we go to the another level. According to Newton's first law, it is the measure of the inertia of an object. Higher the mass, higher is the inertia. Weight. The weight is an object. It is defined as the force with which the earth attracts the object. The force F on an object of mass m on the surface of the earth can be written by using the equation that is weight is equal to W, F is equal to mc, where g is equal to gm upon r square. Weight being a force, its SI unit is Newton. Also, the weight being a force is a vector quantity and its direction is towards the center of the earth. As the value of g is not same everywhere, the weight of an object changes from place to place, though its mass is constant everywhere. Use your brain power. See, question is there, will your weight remain constant as you go above the surface of the earth? Will your weight remains constant as you go above the surface of the earth? Certainly no, our weights will not remain constant if we move away from the surface of the earth. Weight is the product of the mass and the gravitational acceleration. When we move away from the surface of the earth, mass remains the same, but the value of gravitational acceleration decreases. This weight decreases as we move away from the surface of the earth. I think you might be getting the answer of this question. Now let us see what is the difference between mass and weight. We'll consider here different bases for the comparison. First is the definition. Let us see mass. It is the measure of the amount of matter present in a body. Weight, it refers to the measures of the amount of force that acts on the mass because of the pull of gravity. Meaning, mass is the measure of inertia, weight is the measure of force. Location, it stays the same everywhere irrespective of the location. Weight will vary depending on the location. Physical quantity, mass is the scalar quantity, it has magnitude. Weight, it is the vector quantity, it's got the magnitude and direct towards the center of the gravity. Gravitational effect, it can never be zero. It can be zero when no gravity is acting on it. SI unit, the SI unit of mass is the kilogram, kg. Weight is the SI unit will be Newton, N. Measurement, we measure it using an ordinary balance. For instance, pan balance, beam balance, etc. We can measure weight using a spring balance. Denotation, m is the used letter to denote the mass. We use w, a letter, to denote the weight. To calculate the mass, we use the formula mass is equal to volume into density, whereas the formula for calculating the weight will be mass into acceleration due to gravity. I think you came to know the difference between these two, mass and that of the weight. Try this. Take a small stone, hold it in your hand. Which force are acting on the stone? Now release the stone. What do you observe? What are the forces acting on the stone after you release it? Friends, here some 4 points you come to know. First, when a stone is held in our hand, it experiences the gravitational force exerted on it by the earth, pulling it downward, and the force of the hand pushing it upward. When the stone is released, it falls downward. Once the stone is released, the forces acting on the stone are gravitational force and an upward force opposing the gravitational force. If the medium in which the stone is released in air is air, frictional force due to the air also acts on the stone, opposing its motion. Friends, now let us see free fall. We know that the force of gravity due to the earth acts on each and every object. When we were holding the stone in our hand, the force was experiencing this force, but it was balanced by the force that we were applying on it in the opposite direction. As a result, the stone remained at rest. Once we release the stone from our hands, the only force that acts on it is the gravitational force of the earth, and the stone will fall and down under its influence. Whenever an object moves upward under the influence of this force of gravity alone, it is said to be falling freely. Thus, the released stone is in a free fall. In the free fall, the initial velocity of the object is zero and goes on increasing due to the acceleration due to gravity of the earth. During free fall, the frictional force due to air opposes the motion of the object, and a buoyant force also acts on the object. Thus, true free fall is opposite only in vacuum. For freely falling object, the velocity on reaching the earth and the time taken for it can be calculated by using Newton's equations of motion. For free fall, the initial velocity v is equal to 0 and the acceleration is equal to z. Thus, we can write the equation as that v is equal to gt, s is equal to half of gt square, and v square is equal to 2 gs. For calculating the motion of an object thrown upward, acceleration is negative, that is a direction opposite to the velocity, and it is taken to be as a minus g. The magnitude of g is the same, but the velocity of the object decreases because of this negative acceleration. The moon and the artificial satellites are moving only under the influence of this gravitational field of the earth. Thus, they are in free fall. Gravitational potential energy. We have studied potential energy in the last standard. The energy stored in an object because of its position or the state is nothing but a potential energy. The energy is relative and increases as we go to the greater heights from the surface of the earth. We had assumed that the potential energy of an object of mass m at a height h from the ground is mgh, and on the ground it is 0. When h is small compared to the radius r of the earth, we can assume g to be the constant and can use the formula mgh. But for large values of h, the value of g decreases with increase in h. For an instant object at infinite distance from the earth, the value of g is 0, and the earth's gravitational force does not act on the object. So it is more appropriate to assume the value of potential energy to be 0 there. Thus, for smaller distances, that is heights, the potential energy is less than 0, that is negative. When an object is at height h from the surface of the earth, the potential energy is Gmm upon r plus h. Here m and r are the earth's mass and radius respectively. Escape velocity. We have seen then when a ball is thrown upward, the velocity decreases because of the gravitation of the earth. The velocity becomes 0 after reaching a certain height, and after that the stone starts falling down. Its maximum height depends upon the initial velocity according to the Newton's third law of motion, that is v square is equal to u square plus 2as. V is the final velocity of the ball, which is equal to 0, and a is equal to minus j, since it is in the upward direction. Therefore, 0 is equal to u square plus 2 minus j into s, and maximum height of the ball s is equal to minus u square upon 2g. Thus, higher the initial velocity u, the larger is the height reached by the ball. So, the reason for this is that the higher the initial velocity, the ball will oppose the gravity of the earth more, and the larger will be the height to which it can reach. We have seen above that the value of g keeps decreasing as we go higher above the surface of the earth. Thus, the force pulling the ball downward decreases as the ball goes up. If we keep increasing the initial velocity of the ball, it will reach larger and larger heights, and above a particular value of initial velocity of the ball is able to overcome the downward pull by the earth and can escape the earth forever and will not fall back on the earth. This velocity is nothing but the escape velocity. We can determine its value by using the law of conservation of energy as follows. An object going vertically upward from the surface of the earth having an initial velocity equal to the escape velocity escapes the gravitational force of the earth. The force of gravity being inversely proportional to the square of the distance becomes zero only at infinite distance from the earth. This means that for the object to be free from the gravity of earth, it has to be reached infinite distance from the earth. That is, the object will come to rest at infinite distance and will stay there only. So, for an object of mass m on the surface of the earth, kinetic energy is half mu square, potential energy minus gmm upon r, and the total energy will E1 will be kinetic energy plus potential energy, can be written as equal to half mv square, v here escape velocity, v escape, minus gmm upon r. At an infinite distance from the earth, the kinetic energy is 0, potential energy will be minus gmm upon infinity, which is 0. Therefore, total energy can be given as E2 is equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy. Both are 0, that is 0 itself. Friends, therefore, we can write from the principle of the conservation of energy, E1 is equal to E2. Means in short, E1 minus E2 is equal to 0. Therefore, half of m v escape square minus gmm upon r is equal to 0. 0 is E2 and this E1 value is this one. Therefore, v escape square will be equal to 2gm upon r. Therefore, v escape is equal to under root of 2gm upon r, which is equal to under root 2 gr, because this substituting the value we are getting. So g's value and r value, g is 9.8, r is 6.48, 10 to the power 6. So that leads to v escape is equal to approximately 11.2 km per second. So friends, the spacecraft which are sent to the moon or other planets have to have their initial velocity larger than the escape velocity, so that they can overcome the Earth's gravitational attraction and can travel to these objects. So, do you know this one? That is the weightlessness in the space. What do you mean by that one? Friends, space travelers as well as objects in the spacecraft appear to be floating. Why does this happen? Though the spacecraft is at a height up from the surface of the earth, the value of g there is not 0. In the space station, the value of g is only 11% less than its value on the surface of the earth. Thus, the height of a spacecraft is not the reason for their weightlessness. Friends, their weightlessness is caused by their being in the state of free fall. Though this spacecraft is not falling on the earth because of its velocity along the orbit, the force acting on it is the gravitational force of the earth, and therefore it is in the free fall. As the velocity of this free fall does not depend on the properties of an object, the velocity of free fall is the same for the spacecraft, though the travelers and the objects in the craft. Thus, if a traveler releases an object from her hand, it will remain stationary with respect to her and will appear to be weightless. So I think you come to know the weightlessness. So friends, thank you for watching this video. We'll meet in the next video. Till that, bye.